Hey everyone, this is Jordan from Sleeklens.com. In this quick Photoshop tutorial, we're going to do something a little fun. This is called a two worlds effect. It's also known as the Inception Effect or the Interstellar Effect. Basically just an effect where you can kind of just flip a world right on top of the other world, and you'll see what I'm talking about in just a second, and create like a two worlds, one at the bottom, one at the top. And it just creates a cool little effect. It's very, very easy to do. There's no major thing to do here, but when you're making these cool abstract kind of artworks out of your photos, you can take some complementary scenes, kind of like I'm doing here with a city scene and a glacier scene down here, and just kind of flip them on top and show two different things and just make a cool, unique photo. It's very simple to do. So the first thing you need, I like to use aerial shots, aerial drone photos. So we have this one right here of a city, and then we have the kind of landscape version here. And the only thing we really need to do is we're going to take the top image. This is going to be the image that is on top. So I'm going to go ahead and do a Command or Control T to transform it. And we're going to back out here a little bit right there, and we're just going to flip it around. So we're going to spin this around here, and we can lower the opacity a little bit to try to get as much city as we like. We're just going to drop it right around there and click enter. And now we'll take the opacity back up, and we'll toggle this off for the meantime. And what we're going to do now is just take this scene, and I want a tiny bit less than what it's showing now. I know it's kind of right in the middle, but I want a little tiny less, so right about there. And just click enter. And again, this is going to be something that you could do. You can change later. You don't have to get it perfect the first time. So I'm going to toggle this back on, and all I'm going to do is just get a regular layer mask. Get a black brush, a large black brush. I have my flow down all the way down to, or all the way to 100. This is going to give me a long streak that is just going to wipe everything out. And just make sure the hardness is down to 0. So what I'm going to do here is just paint right across there and do the same thing here. And I'm going to feather it in kind of like that. Now it took too much away. That's totally fine. We're just going to go back and switch our color to white and just kind of feather it in like this. And we'll change it to black again and just try to lightly take away some of that scene from the city. It's okay to keep some of it, but you want to make sure you have a little bit less sky showing. And if you keep something like this, you could, could be a fog sort of thing, but it's really up to you. If you don't like this sky, if you don't want to use this sky from the top image, you can just delete this layer mask, and we'll go ahead and send this one to the back, and then we can take the sky off of this one and do the same thing. Create a layer mask, get a black brush, and take away this sky. And you can see we're bringing more of the plain sky in from the city scene. It's kind of feathering in just a little bit, just like that, and just finesse it a little bit here on the bottom. So you can see I'm not really doing anything major, like any crazy major technique to get this in, just using a simple layer mask. So that's basically the effect, but to sell it a little bit more, we're going to take this city scene, we're going to duplicate that, drag it to the top, take the opacity down on this one, and we're going to move it for this particular scene. We're going to move it down where the water is, so probably right around there. And the reason we're going to do this is because we're going to paint in the water, or reflection, basically. So I'm going to do a layer mask, but I'm going to hold Alt or Option on my keyboard before I click the layer mask button. This is going to turn it completely black and allow us to paint in with a white brush. So lower the size of the brush, and then just go into the water and start painting in. We'll get a little bit here before we change the blending, just to see what we're doing here. There we go. Now we can just change the blending mode to something like overlay or soft light. I usually use soft light for this one. It just kind of blends in a little bit better for reflections. We can take the opacity down so it's not as intense, and now we can just kind of paint in the rest of the scene. You can take a pen tool out and get really exact with the selection, but with a feather brush and just a little bit of loose painting, you can actually get a pretty good effect. And we'll take this out and just feather it in a little bit more on the edges, and there we go. and we have our reflection in there. So you can kind of see it sells it a little bit more. If we want to change the blending mode again to overlay, we can do it to bring a little bit more color back and just lower the opacity. So we have options here. So that is basically the effect. It's very simple, just layer mask and painting, just a little bit of creativity with the photos, and you are good to go with making your two worlds or Inception effect. Alright guys, thank you for joining me in this video. This has been Jordan from Sleeklens, and I'll see you in the next one.